You have.
Great. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the August 12th, 2026 EAC meeting. Katie, is there anything that you need to mention beforehand, or?
No.
Okay, got it. And I would like to call to order the August 12th, 2026 EAC monthly meeting. Everybody received the agenda and the minutes. Are there any edits or changes from the committee to the minutes? Okay, can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve.
Second, please.
I'll second.
All in favor? All right. First up on the agenda then is public comments, and we do have a resident here with us. And you don't need to stand up if you don't want to. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable.
Okay. It might be easier for Bernie and Andre to keep an honor, so Bernie and Melissa here if you want.
Oh, okay. There's my
Just closer to
first
a microphone that way.
Oh, yeah.
blunder.
Yeah, let's see if I can. Is that good? Close enough? Okay, perfect. Okay, my name is Aaron Goldman, and I'm a resident of McCandless for the past 5 years. I just wanted to introduce myself because native gardening and ecological landscaping are subjects I care deeply about. Over the past several years, I've been converting our entire property into an intentionally cultivated native and habitat-focused gardens. I recently had an experience with the township that made me realize that there may be a broader opportunity for education around native and ecological landscaping. What stood out to me was that some of the landscaping approaches can look very different from a conventional turf lawn, and that may create misunderstandings when people are unfamiliar with them. I was excited to see that the Environmental Advisory Committee is already working on native plant landscaping, birdtown initiatives, ecological gardening programs, and I even saw that you were discussing forming a native plant subcommittee or some sort of group. I think there's a great opportunity to build on that work. I put together a one-page handout that I already handed out with 4 ideas that I'd love for the committee to consider in the future. A voluntary ecological landscape recognition and signage program, additional education and resources for township staff, a lawn to habitat education program for residents, and moving forward with that native plant subcommittee or some sort of something related to that to help coordinate these efforts and future demonstration projects in the future. I think many of these ideas are already being implemented successfully by other municipalities. Just a quick Google search, I saw like even nearby Pine Township had some forms of like a small lawn to habitat program with you could buy, I think it was $20 and you get seeds and a sign and kind of like some guidance on all of that. So you don't really need to start from scratch here. Most importantly, I guess I'm not here to just suggest more work for you guys. I'm happy to volunteer for the native plant or kind of help with like research, implementation, educational materials, outreach, demonstration programs. So yeah, I think that's the long and short of it. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. And you are one of our 32 then Audubon native or certified backyard habitats.
Oh, cool.
No, you said it in your email, so
Oh, yeah.
you are.
Yes, yeah, I just got certified at like the highest level. Like that.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That's wonderful. So, so you're speaking, the same language and the same passion that we are. So we really appreciate that. And Bernie and Melissa, we'll scan this and send this over to you because it's well thought out and well done. It really is.
With the native seeds, that's something that Northern Area Environmental Council did every year, and they're no longer in existence. So that's something that maybe we can pick up the ball on. But that was one of the things that they did every year is they made seed packets available for people to plant at their houses and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
There's so many like great like local organizations and stuff too doing native plant things that could kind of be potential partners. Or I'm still new to the whole like government and how all like the different committees and stuff work, but I think there's a lot of like opportunities there.
Okay.
Well, this committee, did somebody else have something?
I was just going to say real fast, we'll talk about it a little bit more with some of the tree stuff, but at our adoption event, we're also going to have some native bushes available because a lot of people have expressed interest in adopting smaller things besides just trees. So there should be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and so one of the projects that we take on and we always attempt to be better at is native gardening, is, invasive species removal. And that, you heard us talking about that before the meeting, and it's a big challenge. Because as we form in this committee, as we form subcommittees within the committee, what that subcommittee is supposed to do is go out and find volunteers to fulfill its mission, in a sense. And that's where we're hoping that you can add, and hoping that you would, give your knowledge and your passion to that group. So, as Joanna and Audrey, who like to work on this stuff, as they go forward, we'd love to have you as a resource, and we welcome you to, we'll communicate with you through the EAC email, right? Is it the EAC email? We'll develop that relationship, and then we'll go from there. Melissa, Bernie, anybody else?
Thank you for sharing today. That's a lot of really great ideas.
Thanks.
Yeah. Are we missing anything? We want to make sure that you're satisfied and you've reached the right committee.
Yeah.
Feeling like you've reached the right committee and the right ears, which you have.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, it's like, I didn't even know this was really a thing until I started looking for it, and then I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for the past couple of years on my own, and just kind of like connecting with random folks, and I think I have a lot of like neighbors walk past that are always like asking me about it, so I feel like it'd be really nice to be, like even like, have like some sort of like a sign with a QR code with like local links to like the McCandless kind of website on just like what you could, like what the backyard habitat can look like, and
right.
kind of more resources where they can learn more, and just keep it. I feel like it's extra nice to have it within like a community, because it kind of like builds it like a grassroots kind of thing. I mean, that's the only way a lot of this gets done.
It doesn't, that's the only way it gets done.
So-
And we can't do all that.
Right.
So we're building a volunteer hub on the sign-in sheet, and I know that we have it, but we'd love for you, I mean, you put your name and your email down,
Yes.
which gives us sort of the ability to know that we can contact you and start to work with you. So we're excited to do that.
I'm interested too, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this later, just in the portion, but me and Katie were talking about, applying for the mini grant from Birdtown, and one of the things that the Birdtown grants can be allocated towards is like native plant yards and like signing those and helping people develop them. So I'm interested too, if we're looking at some sort of signage that we wanna do, if that's something that we could apply for the grant for and get money towards.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, thank you, Mr. Goldman.
Yeah, thank you.
The other inquiry that came through the EAC website with regard to rain barrels. And the question was, does the town have any rain barrel or conversion kits to provide to residents, or does the EAC work with any organization that might be able to provide them? I don't have any experience
Pennsylvania
with this.
Resource Council.
They don't currently have any though.
I don't know if they have it, and that's where I got mine through. We don't directly work with them, but they have held rain barrel classes in North Park in the past.
Okay.
And that's when I got mine.
Yeah,
It was like $50.
I feel like this person is channeling me because I was just searching for this, and so a lot of people have had discounted or how to make one stuff, and there's not anything currently. But I was just on a garden walk in Buffalo, and just about every house had a rain garden or a rain barrel, and it was very nice to see. And they are all branded like City of Buffalo.
That's cool.
But I didn't know, especially, and again, kind of jumping, but since there is an Allegheny County cap being worked on, if there was a possibility of like a county-wide discount program or something, that would be really nice. And I know that's long-term, but it would be nice to see if we had some kind of program, because I also need a rain barrel.
Okay.
Just be careful with some of the ones that they give out, for smaller amounts of money, because sometimes they are a little bit more leaky than I would prefer, because mine I want to replace with something better. It's not great.
Okay, so why don't we, I'll research, I'm not the best Googler out there, I've been told. It's free. But, you know, why don't we, if somebody could research.
I can do that since I am interested in getting one.
Okay, good, thank you.
Jeff, if I could, on new room growing pains, your laptop is directly in front of that mic. So when you're typing, your keys are sort of being.
No, it's not possible.
Growing pain. Yeah, you're up right against the hot mic. Thank you, sir.
And I do type like I'm angry.
I can tell on the mic.
No, I do it
New room
too.
growing pains. You're
I do it too, don't.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on then to junior EAC member updates.
You want me first? All right. Okay. Well, I have been away at a living learning program for the past month, so I've been out of the loop. But like I mentioned earlier, me and Katie were discussing over email, hopefully getting some grant applications, and I really want to work on like grant applications, specifically like if we can find anything parks wise or sidewalk wise. But currently the application that is open is the Birdtown mini grant, which is 30 grants of $1,000 to like various places. So just been looking over the criteria for that, and open to hearing any ideas tonight about what we could do with that. It's narrow, but it's also pretty broad because there's things pertaining to, you know, like having like a birdhouse all the way to like native plants and just like ecosystem stuff in general.
So when is the due date on that grant?
September 15th.
Okay, and you know, you could make it easy by saying a Swift house.
Okay.
So that's $1,000. That if you went to the Audubon Society and bought one, you'd be a Swift house. But, you know, I think you could also look at it and say, well, we have these parks that are going to remain in its you know, its rawest form, pretty much Pontiac and Potter. And there are birdhouses because the Audubon Society, again, has a myriad of birdhouses that we can buy. So we can do it where we can have an education class of how to build these. And, you know, so anything related to, you know, things that are going to, you know, benefit those parks. But you could make it easy. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
you know, you could make it sort of easy on yourself.
Yeah, and just like a specific idea in general, if anybody has certain specifics, because when I'm applying and when me and Katie are working on the application, there's like some very specific questions, like what project are you putting this towards? How is this going to further Birdtown's mission? Like things like that. So if we can really nail down like a specific thing that we want that money to go towards, just like one thing in particular, then I think that's probably the easiest way to do it in regards to, you know, answering all of those questions, making sure this project meets the criteria and stuff like that.
And
Jeff,
I'm just, oh, go ahead.
no, Melissa, go ahead.
I was just going to add to what Jeff was saying. If we do go along the lines of something like a Swift House or Purple Martins or Bluebird houses, we will need to be implementing a program for volunteers to be monitoring and caring for these. I know this is something that we've talked about wanting to do as part of being a bird town, but we currently do not have that in place. So just keep that in mind from a timing standpoint as well.
Is that going to hinder, like if we do an application in regards to a Swift house, will that hinder like our ability to get the grant for that, or will that just make us have to implement that afterwards?
I don't know the answer to that, but you did mention that there are a lot of questions to answer. So if it's phrased in a way that this is a program we're planning to develop, so this will be our first step in getting this and then working to develop a volunteer network to monitor and maintain it, that's probably okay. But we just need to make sure that we have somebody in the committee who is dedicated to go out and actually get people to do this work with us. So.
You can also take some of those questions that are a little bit more, you know, that you want to make sure that you know, we give good answers to, and maybe if you're unclear, take them and send them to the group.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
we'll help you fill in. You'll get a lot of different ideas.
And if you're looking at Swift houses and things like that, there are a lot of those in North Park. And you could check with the rangers on how they're approaching that and learn from what they've already been doing over the past 10 years.
There was a grant we were receiving from Birdtown that is separate from that, correct?
It is, yeah.
And was our intent for that one a Swift house already, or are we?
It is. I mean,
Okay.
it's $1,000, and, you know, in the Swift house, it's $1,000. And that suggestion came from John Schwend that we do the Swift house, but knowing that we already have it, and, you're applying for the other one, and if you're looking for spots to spend it, then, we could say Swift House.
Yeah.
And take the other $1,000, which we know we have.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, which we
So
know
for
we
this
have.
one, so we want to apply for this one to be a Swift house or some sort of bird house. And then that one is kind of for, if we secure this grant, then that is for use in whatever other places that we want to put it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, that makes sense.
it's the luxury of having two $1,000, so,
Yeah.
so we can, use that, fill in your application as strong as possible. And if you feel like, that you're sort of saying, well, I don't, and we'd like to have some nice plants, or, if you want to get a little bit more specific, then use the Swift House.
Okay.
And the community, and the township manager aspires to have Swift House
Yeah.
in 2 different raw parks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. So as Jenna has noted, she and I will work on the application together, so the direction of the committee is the Swift House, for the application, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so she and I will work on that application together, sorry, Jenna.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I'm sorry. She and I will work on that application together, we will, facilitate responses to some of those questions as best that we can.
Yep.
And then we'll circulate it to the larger group, we have a long enough lead time now, that we can certainly give folks, a few days to review and provide any comment. But with the direction of the Swift House, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Direction.
Yeah, and that fits into what Melissa was saying, is that, the Swift House does not require us to build an army of volunteers to maintain it. So, that we can do.
One of the things when you have the Swift House also that they've done in some parts of North Park is if you put a bat house on the east side of it, you can, make a house for 2 different insect eating groups.
I have a bat house that I don't know where to hang, so I don't mind donating my bat house. It's very small, though.
Okay, anything else, Jenna?
That's all from me.
Okay. Nadia, anything on your,
Yeah, I've just been doing some work with the CAP subcommittee. We've been meeting every couple of weeks as needed. I've been looking at just kind of things that we already have to do, just from DEP, EPA, that are also going to meet the requirements for the PA sustainability, platinum and gold goals, that are just, maybe we need to do a little bit more to get us where we need to go for that. So I've just been writing a bit about that, which it took me longer than I thought I would need, so I'll send that to you. I've also been doing a little bit, Melissa asked me to write a bit for the town crier. So I'm also just been working on that just to get the last couple things that I have wrapped up.
okay.
So mostly just paperwork.
Anything else for Nadia?
And
Okay.
I'd like to thank Nadia for being part of our committee, since this is her last meeting with us. We really enjoyed having you contribute over the past school year.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Your time here has been very, very constructive and helpful for this committee and for the community. So
Thank you.
You've done a great job with us, so we really appreciate it. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
Always welcome to come back and help.
And
Stop by, say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Do some weeding while you're here.
all right, moving on to project updates. The first one is the tree program with Bernie and Audrey.
Bernie, would you like to start, or?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay, so we had a meeting with some of our people from Tree Pittsburgh and Katie to get things squared away for our October 17th event. So we will have a tree adoption in the afternoon and the tree tender program in the morning. Katie has all the contract stuff for, I think they combined those into a single contract, so she has them, and they were, I believe, signed and everything's done, and they worked out all the paperwork and how everything's billed, and so that seems to be going well. We got an email today with a confirmation of what trees are in stock this fall. Katie, I don't know if you were on that email, we can forward it to you, but we need to kind of come up with what trees do we want, and so that just came in this afternoon, so we haven't looked or talked about that much. And then we got confirmation of saving the date next year for tree adoption.
And you have that date for 27?
Yes, so that's October 16th, 2027.
Thank you. And then we also got the save the date from Tree Pittsburgh, so we'll be starting to circulate that soon. October will be here before we know it. So we'll have registrants that day for tree tenders. The town will do some sort of breakfast item and lunch for those that will be joining us this year. And then tree tenders will be over at 3 o'clock with the tree distribution beginning at 3:30 again over in the DPW garage. A little bit of a different event than our birthday giveaway. We'll encourage folks to come by and grab their trees and then go plant them. So that will be that Saturday, but we are working on that. Contracts are executed.
Which date is that?
October 17th is a Saturday. And then I think they had said 10 to 20% of the trees will actually be bushes because people had expressed an interest in having smaller plants. So the bushes are included in the list of all the inventory they have. I know Bernie has been talking about, because there are a lot of people who want 5, cherry trees or whatever it may be, a red bud or whatever, and they would like a row of them, they can only sign up to adopt 1 tree. And then there's the mad chaos of standing at the end trying to adopt whatever is left over if people didn't show. So she was talking to some people about maybe doing, in conjunction to a tree adoption, a tree sale. And there was talk that, that's not something they're really set up for doing currently. However, they are interested in the concept. And I know, Bernie, you've been in contact with some of them more. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I think just to, add to that date, the follow-on statement from what Audrey just said is, if you're adopting one and you want 3, you could now purchase them. So I think right now it's just, we didn't really have a tree committee meeting on Monday. So I can talk to myself about it and how to do that. But I think, Katie, what I'd like to do is, figure out with the township what's the best possible approach to coordinating the tree sale with the tree adoption. And, again, we discussed 2 or 3 different options. I had hoped to have a recommendation today. But I think we can finalize that within the week as far as whether we just pre-order a set number and then set those for sale, or whether or not we just take the orders as they come in. So we'll see. But I think we need to coordinate that with the township on how that would be managed.
And Bernie, is that the intention to do that for 27, or is that the intention to do that for this October 16th event?
Yeah, this year. It's again, the idea being when you're doing your tree adoption, you could also place an order for purchase.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Just as another thing that Northern Area Environmental Council used to do is they had a tree sale every spring. And I can give you contacts to the people that did that, but I think that's something that would be worthwhile for us to look at. For those people that want 5 cherry trees, that gives them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, because I know Bernie had mentioned that when they kind of dissolved, she was hoping that this could take up the slack, essentially.
They had a tree sale every year that was partly how they raised funds.
I had been in the process of bringing Beth Dutton onto the tree committee because that was their event, their activity, and she said she would help us incorporate that. So I'm not sure how to do that now, other than just work directly with the township on how that might get handled.
The other thing they noted is that in theory is you are buying in bulk. Anybody can buy like 10 trees from them if you're like living in the area. So another thing that might be worth thinking about is kind of advertising. If you want to get together with your neighbors and buy 10 plants, you actually can do that from Tree Pittsburgh. You just have to buy at least 10.
Would we be able to field something like that? Like, is that within the township's purview to like say, hey, here's an application form, once we get like 10 people put in that they want trees, we'll put the order and you pay us, like, is that?
Well, that is the idea, Jenna, is,
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
so the tree sale would be, ideally, we do it once a year with the tree adoption event, and and we could run it as a fundraiser. Let's say, you know, all the trees are $24. You know, we could sell them at $35 and have some kind of, you know, it could go back into the EAC budget as an example, if that's permitted by the township, or back to, you know, supporting the tree adoption program on an ongoing basis. So that's a thought too.
Yeah, so we're unable, just to clarify, we're unable to make money on an event with the town, but certainly we can talk about that structure or what that would look like or how we make that happen.
Could y'all-
You know, Audrey, to your point, the tree giveaway would be for McCandless residents, but
Yeah.
maybe a tree sale is, you know,
Everybody.
a
Right.
larger thing, you don't necessarily need.
Well, I was even
McCandless.
thinking we could put, like, have Liz put out, hey, get together with your neighbors and y'all submit just directly,
Yes.
like, just letting people know it's an option even.
Okay.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Yeah, I think that could be promoted year round, and I think, you know, we did that last year at some point. But, and so yes, on spring and fall, like you can always go to Tree Pittsburgh and place an order through their nursery, and I think just exposing that list of, you know, what they have for sale could be a part of it. But I would love for us to do this as kind of a neighborhood tree adoption event, or a tree sale, where, you know, you kind of promote the idea of the tree lined street again. You know, maybe they're not oaks, but maybe there's something, you know, smaller that can line your streets. But I think we try to suggest, you know, the beautification and the health benefits of the plantings as part of the promotion of the tree sale. And again, ideally, it's annually, it's tied in with the adoption and the tree tender event. So it's kind of a big tree day for McCandless was the original thought.
And just a random question before we make any kind of recommendation, is the town able to process payments?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to say no, but I can certainly.
Yeah, because I know like taxes and all that is like a third
It
party
gets
and
very
stuff.
complicated
Yeah.
very quickly. So
Okay.
I can certainly reach out on that too and figure that out.
Yeah, because like if that's not an option, then we'll have to figure something out, maybe with Tree Pittsburgh or something. Okay.
Yes.
When you're selecting your shrubs, try to pick ones that are not, that the deer aren't going to destroy immediately.
I only want to feed the deer. I don't know what you're talking about.
But
Okay, don't kill me.
there are different
Yes,
shrubs that,
yes.
that, yeah.
And-
At this point, they eat anything, but.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be chatting about this with Bernie and I don't know, Bernie, how you want to handle it and when we need to tell them tree numbers by. But we might send out to the group too what we're thinking about getting. But we'll have to talk about it since that just came in.
Okay. Is that good? Okay.
I think we're good.
So adding to that then, obviously, we saw the email today from Katie, and we've had 7 submissions for the Remarkable Tree Program, 8 counting Mary Bates, but, you know, we'll see what happens. So, that is that is really getting there. And, I think the one thing that we're missing is, we're missing the oldest tree. So can you and I think about if we think there's a 175-year-old tree in this community and go knock on somebody's door?
Yeah,
No, but I mean, you know these old trees in the community, right?
I haven't, you know, I know where different ones are, but that doesn't mean I know where all of them are.
Yeah, well, just one of them, you know. I'm saying maybe you and I can coordinate and try to find that
There
old tree.
might be one There might be one on East Sandal Avenue.
What is it?
On East Sandal Avenue.
East Sandal?
Yes.
Okay.
I know when I've taken trees down around my house, they go back, when I've had to take them down for whatever reason, they go back before Civil War. And I know we're not the oldest ones, some of these white oaks are very old.
Okay. So I'd like to, maybe you and I can get together and see if we can get, because I think that's the only category we're missing. And then lastly, I think we want to talk about, and Katie, what are, what's the, other than winning something, because I think at this point, 7 applicants, you could probably fit them into different categories. Everybody's going to win something, which is great. I don't want to see somebody not win. What would be we giving them, or what do we do? Do we have a piece of paper or something, or?
Yeah, I mean, we'll certainly recognize them at Community Day, we can give them some sort of plaque, or like a, certificate or something, but I wasn't sure, if folks were thinking, something else.
I don't know what we have a budget for. I was thinking earlier, and semi-grim, but if there was like a rock and you could carve it, and I'm like, I don't know who does that besides like cemetery people, but something that looks more natural than like a headstone, of like having a rock that just says like remarkable tree or McCandless remarkable tree, because you could actually put it under the tree. But I have no idea. That could be very expensive. I don't know.
Probably could do that with a brick.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes you get those little things that say, bless my garden or something like that. I mean, it just comes from Hallmark or something, right?
Okay, but maybe not Hallmark.
Yeah, but I mean, but so those things are not, I mean, it's not like it's marble.
Right.
What about what McCandless is doing for the like name a brick thing?
The HCC, the walkway.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have something
I
similar.
wanna be sure to do something to. I think, doing a brick or something, or doing, a little more, I don't know, I know what you're talking, not a headstone.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's tombstone companies that'd be more than willing to help
Yes,
us.
to make a custom tombstone.
No.
I'll sit there with a little hand carver and just
Yeah.
like chip away at it.
Yeah, I can look at pricing and get back
Okay.
to folks.
Good.
Because it sounds like there's, we'll have something for each category.
Okay, and then lastly, I've been having conversations with, Lorene was one, and ex-councilman Jack Casey was another, where there are tree reductions going on. There's widening of roads at 2 different intermediate schools, and I think the expectation is that we're gonna lose 170 trees. Audrey, you've heard this too?
We were talking about it at National Night Out.
Right. And so, obviously, we'd like to, add or at least be net zero. So I think Maureen is going to bring more information to us, and we'll talk about this further, but I just want to sort of get it in front of the committee and say that this is something that, hopefully we can add to, as opposed to just letting that go away. So we're not going backwards.
This is a real quick general comment. McCandless Township is over 40% canopy covered, which is pretty amazing, and it'd be great for us to keep it that way.
Yep. Yep. Anything else for tree project? Okay. Joanna Rain Gardens. Take a breath.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Going to try to do this without the anger and rage of a million suns. All right. The rain gardens were initially put in 2010, with the HCC rain garden being the largest, which was put in 2017. That was a community effort that was done with volunteers and other community resources, including the Audubon Society and others who provided native plants, labor, their own sweat and tears. And then I am upset at the town right now because the largest of those was ripped out without any warning to us, any communication to us. It included multiple native button bushes, trees that were not diseased, not sick. When we're trying to restore our canopy for our town, ripped out with, again, no warning. Town council didn't know, we didn't know. My understanding is in 2014, that was not the plan. Again, but this was put in 2017. In 3 years, that plan was made. There are documentation somewhere in this building that that was the plan. And while we could put it back, we could try to reestablish that. What's done is done currently, and if we are to spend more taxpayer money on that, like, it feels like double work. It feels like it's disheartening, to say the least. We still have 4 other rain gardens. We can form task groups to make sure that those are preserved and extremely well marked for future people in the town who may not know that something is a rain garden. But what is there now is grass and mud and weeds, where it was mulch and flowers and beautiful button bushes. So that's my plan for now. My plan to move forward from that is, again, since we've discussed subcommittees, maybe not the term to use currently, but task force is okay. I would love to see the town work towards planting more natives, especially as they're making other landscapes. I would like to see the town replace those as we're moving forward with making these new town parks, such as Pontiac Park, such as Potter Park. And I am concerned about what the current state of the mud puddle will be moving forwards. Because that is supposed to be a rain garden. It's not, it will hold water now, which is near a playground that I fear is a liability. It will invite invasive plants where they weren't before as they get closer to the HCC, and then, you know, Japanese knotweed is right there next to Pine Creek, so if that's no longer our responsibility, hopefully that is taken care of so it doesn't harm the foundation. And I just worry about what that construction equipment did to compress the soil in the area. I worry about all of the sediment buildup. I worry a lot about how water will rush downstream and hopefully not harm anything, because it was being held before by plants and now it's not. So,
The Public Works website also needs to be updated.
yes,
Because it
that is true.
brags about all the rain gardens and how much water it can filter, and that was the largest one.
Yes, so that will need to be significantly reduced for the town. And I think the other thing that needs to happen is further education needs to go towards the staff on what rain gardens are and why they are important and where they are, and again, make sure everything is very well marked from now on. Right now, there is a large sign out there, but I guess we have to make it bigger.
I put a smaller one at each one of them.
Each one of them. So, any questions?
If I could,
Yes.
Joanne, I certainly did not want to cut you off. Joanna and I had the opportunity with Jeff and Melissa to meet before this meeting. Jeff and I also met separately with Town Manager Schwend. The plan that Joanna is talking about from 2014 does not call for that location to be a rain garden. It calls for that to be a retention pond with grass plantings there. So I did just want to highlight that. Again, Joanna had noted that rain garden went in 2017, which was several years later. But I did just want to highlight that. And then again, we had the opportunity to meet before this meeting.
Do we have an accurate map of things that have been installed, rain garden, like are the other rain gardens accurately mapped somewhere in town documentation?
As far as like the site plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
'Cause
about the rest of the site
I
plan.
suggest like we at least bring those up to date. I don't know if there are other plans, but definitely like with the parks and, you know, everything that is currently there, let's like, have we audited town lands recently to know what's
The
there?
only rain gardens I'm aware of are these over here at the bottom of the parking lot.
I'm just thinking in general, not just rain gardens, but like,
And future
If-
ones.
have people been spending money on doing something in Wall Park and it hasn't been appropriately documented? I have absolutely no idea, but just maybe we should do an audit and make sure everything that we have spent money on getting done is marked, right?
Yeah, I, as far as like infrastructure, I'm sure that's mapped, like actual physical in the ground infrastructure. But, I can see if we have site plans and things like that for those locations.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's been much improvement done on like the wall parks. Once you get away from the ball fields and things, there's very little, virtually none, improvement.
At one point, you had put in a trail at some point. Was that marked on a map anywhere? Did that ever get marked?
The Brant Trail?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's marked.
yeah, that went through due process and
Okay. I just wanted to make sure like it actually got marked.
it's got signs at both ends and all.
And also what's the other one, the Vestal Trail?
And the Brant Trail is currently, we're in process of putting a connector in between that and the park, between the Wall Park parking lot and the Brant Trail.
We have a grant application.
Yeah, oh,
That's-
grant
yeah.
application, okay.
Would that make it just that little bit extra longer to,
To get a mile.
yeah, to get that whole mile?
Katie, is there a way we can stretch the trail longer than that?
Loop-de-loop and,
Yeah, we'll do, in the parking lot, we'll do several circles.
okay.
But yeah, so you don't have to park right there off the road, it's a safety concern, so that's what we have in the grant application.
Okay, any other questions for Joanna? Okay, Ken, deer program.
The Kansas Police give me a readout each month on things, and so it's not deer season, so what are they reporting? They're reporting things that are hit, cars and deer that are picked up and so forth. So far through the end of June, not including July, there's been 82 deer picked up. That's more deer than were harvested in the archery season, which is why we are hopefully going to initiate our enhanced deer management program this year. But along with that, this is just a personal thing. I would encourage anyone to contact their Allegheny County council person and recommend or talk about doing some enhanced deer management in the county parks, in particular North Park. When I talked with she's just officially appointed now the parks manager for all 9 county parks. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She says that's above her head. So the only way we're going to do anything there other than their archery program is to get the Allegheny County Council. Why am I concerned about that? About 1,200 acres of Wall Park is in McCandless Township. So it'd be great if we can work together with doing enhanced deer programs to lower the deer population so that we can have regeneration of our trees and can reestablish our native plants and things. It's a lot of the reason we have the invasives and everything we have is that the deer don't eat Japanese barberry, they don't eat Japanese knotweed, and they don't eat Japanese stilt grass. That's why they're there, because the deer don't eat them. So if we want to be good stewards and try to revitalize our green space, we need to do an active deer management program. Any questions? They're to the point around my house that they're eating milkweed, which is just astounding to me.
I hit one again.
Well, good, you're doing population control.
No, it gets even worse. It survived and ran away.
Well, that's part of the thing, like when it's saying 82 deer were picked up. That's not counting, there's many deer, the only deer I've ever hit was out in Pine Township. Jumped over, hillside that comes up, it jumped over the guardrail right into my car. And it was, $4,000 damage to my car. The deer got up and ran back into the woods. And the other part of that is that because there is not, like when we're watching deer now, they're all eating, they're out grazing in grass. Deer are not grazers, they're browsers. They eat twigs. They eat 8 to 10 pounds of twigs a day. And when you see them eating grass, that means there's no twigs for them to eat. And so this winter, if we have a tough winter with some snow and cold, the first deer that die are the fawns, because they're the ones that can't stand up on their hind legs far enough. But that'll be back in the woods, you won't see that. And so we don't really know how much mortality we have from winter kill. And there's no way to really measure that. But it is going on. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Any questions or anything? I'd really like to get into getting rid of some of the privet and things in Wall Park and things like that, and trying to get things reestablished and everything. But it's just really pointless to try to do any of that at this point in time.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Anybody wants to see this,
Okay, local climate action plan, Melissa?
So the subcommittee's been meeting every couple weeks. Carmen and Audrey are in the process of drafting up a tentative plan, which we're going to be presenting for town council as follow-up from their request a couple months ago, to provide more information about why climate action plan and the various initiatives it suggests are a benefit to the community. Audrey, do you have anything you'd like to share?
No, I would like to say that thank you for this paper that you handed out, because this is about half of what we're writing. So it's very nice format. Melissa, I'm sure you'll see this when we scan it and send it to you. But we are trying to incorporate a lot of initiatives that you have mentioned coming out of the climate action plan, and we're trying to really narrow it down to broad topics, if that makes sense, to try and just provide council with like an outline of what we want and then recommendations to get them on board, and then spend more effort dialing down into what are specific initiatives. So that's kind of our plan. We're hoping to have that document before this group next month.
Wonderful, okay.
And I know I was out, but if you guys have more room, I would like to, if you can loop me in on.
We're moving the audience.
Yeah, I know I was out the last month, so it wasn't helpful for me to be there because I couldn't meet, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to.
Yeah, we'll give you the information for the next meeting. If you're free, you're more than welcome to join us.
Awesome, yeah, thanks.
Okay.
And then I guess the one other piece of that, I don't know if, I think Carmen had sent out an email related to the Allegheny County individual that she's been in contact with. I guess, Katie, the question is more for you. We're interested in having the county speak to us about what their plans are, but we do think as a subcommittee that it would be extremely beneficial to pull in some of the town employees so that you can all hear what the county will be doing, so that since you guys actually are the ones representing the town, it would help be an educational opportunity. And then you'd also be able to have a better idea of what we may or may not want to do for McCandless. Is that something that you think you'd be open to, or do you need to go discuss with John about the potential of holding a meeting?
Yeah, so is this something where, and this is sort of my point of clarification with Carmen was, is this where you'd like her to be in front of the subcommittee first to sort of talk more about that, or you think all?
I don't think there's a reason for her to go in front of the subcommittee if Carmen has it handled already. I think just one meeting, a virtual meeting would probably be sufficient, with those of us on the subcommittee and then a couple of you from the town as well.
Okay.
Unless you have other thoughts around it.
Yeah, no, so sort of when I left it, Jeff, Carmen and I had met separately on the website information, and Carmen sort of she didn't really have a pulse on what the county was requesting or what they were asking. So that's sort of where we had left it, and it sounded like she was maybe gonna get more clarification on that.
Okay.
And then bring that back and we could talk about how that structure looks, but certainly we're open to that and we can talk about that.
Perfect.
So, yes.
Once she gets that information, we'll follow up with you to get something scheduled.
Yeah.
And we appreciate
The
that.
long-winded answer is yes.
I like to hear that. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions related to any of the scope right now? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is the EAC homepage and mission statement. So Carmen and I have met with Katie and Liz twice. We, took away concepts, and I think we've landed on what a landing page looks like. So the first page up, and it's a little bit more splashy than it is now. So that landing page will have more of the highlights of the EAC and the mission statement. And then to the left will be the more of the informational, so the members will be on there, but then it's more drop downs for minutes and past annual reports, different things like that. But having said all that, we have basically landed on a concept, and what we're going to do is then we're going to begin to provide content. So we're going to ask all the subcommittees to supply some comment or some content, and at least, if nothing else, if they're just links to approve the content. So we are moving forward. We're moving forward pretty swiftly, I think, and we'll be bringing to this committee more of what we've landed on once Liz is sort of working through what we've given her. Any questions there? Okay, moving on to, we're going to fly through some of these now. Community outreach. The first one is Garden to Park recap. Ken was there, I was there, others have joined. I'm sorry, Joanna was there. I put your name down here. That's right, she was there. Does anybody want to give it was informational, and it was sort of, introduce who we are. It was obviously not just McCandless, it was many other surrounding communities. So it was, what the EAC does, and it really does a lot of times center on, deer control. So we had a large placard, for lack of better words, about the expanded deer call. We had our Bird Town sign, which gathered a lot of questions, and then we had the Remarkable Tree Program sign there. So, we had lots of great conversations, I'd have to say.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I liked opening up to people, because you could never tell if anybody was from McCandless. You can't tell. So just opening up talking about what your local government is doing to help protect the environment, and being able to talk about all of our different programs and how we support, Birdtown and what that does, and then how even down to the community level, how you can support different programs for native lawns and for all the different things, for, monarch way stations, to things you can do for the water, and it's whatever you want in your yard to promote in a different way to promote the environment. And that was a really successful thing, beyond just, talking about deer, which of course, yes, people want to do, but there's other conversations happening there too.
I talked to a lot of people about deer, and from, and I asked if they were from McCandless, but it's one of those things that, last year I talked to 37 people, 36 of them thought we had a deer problem, and the one couple that didn't think we had a deer problem had only lived here for 2 weeks. I wish they had come back this year. But it's universally recognized that we have a a really big issue with the deer. And it just is a general rule that I would tell people is if we have an area that has a carrying capacity of 100 deer and we have 200 deer on it like we do now, you need to knock it back down to 50 deer for 5 to 7 years for it to recover. That's just deer biology because their population will double every 2 to 3 years. So we had conversations with a lot of different people from different communities. A large number of them were from McCandless. But it's widely recognized that there's a big deer issue.
Was there people from other communities who had a deer problem that you found? Like people from like other neighboring townships?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Hampton.
I mean, not good, in fact, with deer, but it's good that this is a problem that other residents recognize.
I'm aware of what other townships are doing with their programs and things like that, and was able to, my thing is like I was encouraging all of us to contact our county council person. I was encouraging them to be in touch with their township on their feelings about things, because, that's grassroots is how you get things done.
There also was a live owl. It was cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Where was the owl?
It was at one of the booths had a live owl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Who
I have
brought
pictures.
it?
It was a really good day.
Who brought the owl?
Is it a rehab center?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from a
yeah, it did. It's a good point. Okay, next up is National Night Out, which was really, it was obviously meet your public safety professionals, but it was also meet the EAC. We also had a little game, recycling or composting game. And so, from that standpoint, I thought it was very successful. Melissa and Audrey was there as well. Melissa, you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I thought it was a really useful event for us this year. We were able to chat with a lot of people. The recycling game is a fantastic way to teach people and engage with them. We actually ended up running out of the little cheat sheets that we like to give out to show what should be recycled versus what should go in trash. So I definitely think it's great that we continue to have a presence at the event.
Yep.
And as somebody who composts, I was excited at how many kids compost at their home of their own initiative. And so it was really great to see that so many kids knew that like food trash goes in compost.
Yeah.
Really nice.
And maybe that's something, because I think you can do like a little home compost, because not everybody has a big, area in the backyard that they can do that. Maybe there's something that, there's a little compost kit, just like the rain barrel, little compost kit that sits on top of your thing that has a lid, and sure, it's out there, so.
I have two, they have them, but like, so you can do home collection. They also have, if you live in an apartment, you can do a worm bin inside your house. They don't smell. And it makes lots of, we were chatting to some people who didn't have a backyard about potential options, because I'm all about composting.
Someone with a huge worm bin set up. It's like 5 by 5 feet. It's really
Nice.
So we'll move forward on that. I love that. Since we're introducing that and we're promoting it, we might as well give some ideas on how to, get involved.
Yep.
Okay, next up is Community Day planning. Again, that is on, I don't even have the date down here. That is
September 19th.
Thank you, September 19th, and that is from 1 to 8. So it is going to take an army of hopefully everybody can be available for a little while. That day is, I don't see that as a big, meet the EAC day. That's a family day. And, I think that the activity is going to be the most important thing. So, I don't want to flood the booth with a million flyers that are going to blow all over the place, or try to do too many things at one time. I think last year we tried to do a little bit, too many things at the same time. So, this is the EAC, this is what we do, Bird Town, something else that's out there, but here's our game, here's our craft, whatever that is. So, can we have you think about, since you were crafty?
Right, so just discussing the craft and kind of, for those of you who aren't involved in it as much, okay, Carmen's not here, but Audrey, you weren't on last time. Kind of just in general, my idea, anytime there's craft with kids, I want to make sure it's something that's accessible to everybody. I want, if a kid comes up and they're 2, they can have some way to access it at the same time if they're 12. If they come up with some disability, be able to support them in some way. Everybody should have access to it. And then speaking to other parents out there, nobody wants to walk around with anything with wet paint. Nobody wants to walk around with anything with wet glue. Nobody wants to have glitter. And nobody wants something that their kid's going to sit there for 30 minutes and try to perfect, and they're just standing there. These are all things that people have told me. So trying to come up with something that fits all of that has been a little bit tricky. There's been a few things that kind of worked. It's just hard to know exactly how many materials to prepare ahead of time. And then if you're stuck there at the booth, like if you had more kids than you expected and then you're there trying to cut things out or something, that's tricky too. So
What about, and again, I don't know what you thought of, or what about something like making seed bombs?
that was something I recommended last year. I have made seed bombs in the past. I prefer them to be native seed bombs, and that gets a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
We have a
But
budget, so.
We do have a
let's-
budget.
yes.
I'm just saying,
This is what we want to use the budget for,
Right,
and trees.
right.
But-
so think about it that way.
Well,
The
and
other thing with it is like, okay, so if you're doing seed bombs, then that's going to be like recycling the paper. How are you ripping up the paper? How are you going to get in the water? How do you, like, there's kind of that part of it where it does get kind of messy at that point.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so can we take that away and work on that?
Yes.
And say, we need some ideas for a craft, certainly, obviously it needs to pass all those tests. And that, those are all important, but, we need to do that. And then also, I will send out an email that will talk about, when people can be available, if they're available, and if so, what time can they be available, so we can start putting shifts together. And I think the other thing too is that we ought to have 2 signs and two focuses, and this is certainly up for, debate. But Bird Town, fine, we always try to do that, and we should get that same big placard for tree tenders and tree adoption, and so we should get Liz to put together that sign for us, because those are the 2 things that we should be pushing on September 19th.
Yeah.
I would say if we are going to be focusing on those 2 areas, it would be great if whatever activity we're doing can also relate to it and tie in, so we can have discussions that are more natural in their flow.
And I want to add one more thing, and I want to have a discussion too about the craft or activity or whatever we're doing. Do we want it to be something that kids make and then take away with them, or do we want it to be a community-based thing, kind of like we do at Winterfest, where kids make and then it stays with the community, so like a community mural or something like that? And I know that people were doing something like that for National Night Out, I want to
Yes.
say. So we might rain on somebody else's parade if we do that, but
Well, I also don't know, what was the intent with that? So there were markers and like puzzle pieces. Katie, do you know where that's gonna be displayed?
So we're gonna put that together, so it's 175 reasons to love McCandless. So we gave everybody, children, adults, the opportunity. Some kids drew pictures, some just wrote their name, whatever, parks, all kinds of stuff. We'll put that together and we'll bring that.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the big thing is if we're gonna do a mural, then we have to have some place where it actually will be displayed.
I mean, I have that tree, and that tree is starting to get, it's on its last legs. I can build new legs for it, but it only has a couple more purposes, and, it's just something to put things on or whatever that is, so I can make it seem more upright.
And I'm curious because I know you on like craft/game thing, and you said the game worked really well on National Night Out. I wonder if you want to try another game thing instead of like a craft thing. That makes it a little bit easier for us to like manage through that, especially since it did go well.
one of the things I made last year that certainly can come back is that I went out and logged what species of tree are out, like in Devlin Park and made like a scavenger hunt. I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
actually did it,
Yeah.
but I can bring it back.
Yeah,
Could
so
have it saved.
on the garden walk
have-
that I did, there was a lot of them had like activities for kids and it was like find the this, find
I
that.
wonder if you could do like a bingo, like scavenger hunt type thing and then have like prizes back at the booth so like kids can go out, run around, find stuff and then come back and get like a packet of seeds or something. Interesting.
Okay. Good. And Jenna, it sounds like you have some ideas, so please, as this goes around, please contribute.
Yep.
Okay, next up is the Productive Ecological Garden presentation, which is September 10th at the History Center. So the night after our next meeting at the History Center. So we're promoting this now?
Yeah, we have 7 folks registered.
Oh, wonderful.
It
That's
will
good.
be the highlight of this Saturday's Sustainable Saturday. So if more folks want to go ahead and register for that free event at the HCC, this was John Creasy of Larkspur Design that Joanna had initiated the contact with this gentleman to set this up, and I was able to nail down that date with him. So we were trying to strategically sort of, not get too far into the fall and make sure we have something on the calendar for this fall upcoming. So that'll be, again, September 10th at 7 p.m. at the HCC.
Is that something that we need to pre-register for?
If you're on the EAC, you don't need to pre-register. I'll just imagine that some of you are coming. But we would ask the general public to pre-register, yes, please.
Okay, good. Bring your friends and neighbors. Very good. Okay, speaker series follow-up. And the reason I have this is because I just want to sort of talk this out for a little bit. So we had the tree session in the library. Now we're going to have the Productive Ecological Garden. And we should certainly have one more after that. The Audubon Society could do one in the fall. Unless anybody else has one that they think that we should go, after this, that's a little bit more important or a little bit more, topic related. And if not, I'll just move forward with the Audubon Society.
I would think Audubon on birds and, winter feeding and all of that, I think that's appropriate. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll move forward with that one. Again, I'm trying to put together the migratory bird walk. So with Jonathan Rice, and I will move forward with that and keep everybody up to date on that. Any questions on the speaker series?
Jeff, do you have an intended timeframe for the bird walk?
I don't.
Because I know we're required to do that event as part of Bird Town.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Time period, like month-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to have to be early October.
October?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And then, again, going back to the calendar, the community calendar for 2027, Katie had asked me, is there any way that we can preload the dates of speakers so that they make the calendar? And, I don't want to just say, no, we can't do that, but I'd like to throw that out to the when it'll be, other than the tree tenders. But I don't want to speak for the whole group.
Is it difficult to update the town calendar? Like, is it just done once a year essentially? And
Yeah, so that's a physically printed document.
Oh, you mean the
So they
physical
email,
calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Okay.
excuse me, I had suggested this to Jeff because the third Thursday lecture at the HCC is in the calendar every month. So you might get more interest, you might get, folks paying more attention if we're saying like, hey, February, June, and October, EAC speaker series, HCC. If you want to keep it more fluid, that's certainly fine, not something we need to do, we've not done it in the past. But if we could work, this is the date we're looking to fill a speaker, are you available on that date? If that handcuffs the EAC too much, that's certainly fine.
If we're keeping it just general that we're going to have one and don't have to list the topic and the speaker.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if we find a speaker we want, making sure they're available on the day, just working out the schedule is the hardest thing, but I also don't know that it's bad to establish a date either, and just like, if they can't do it that day, maybe, hey, can you do it in 3 months when our next one is scheduled or something?
Yeah, the only concern I get about, like, and I see where Ken is going, so you just say, you know, in February, in June, and in September, on, you know, the third Saturday, or the third Thursday, we intend to have this. But if you don't have it, then you might cause more confusion about that. Do you think that's true, Katie, or?
I think it gives us a goal.
No?
Yeah, to Ken's point, it sort of solidifies your speaker series a little bit more. There's things that were in the 26 calendar, frankly, that we didn't end up doing. But again, if you feel like that's too much of a burden to put it in there, I was just suggesting.
I don't know that it's a burden.
It's something
I
that,
want to be open-minded about it. Melissa, what do you think about that?
When did you say the cutoff was? Or when we would have to get you dates?
Yeah, so we would probably need to know by like end of September.
that's something initially with EAC, we had wanted to have, you know, a speaker series where once a quarter we had a speaker. And I think, you know, if it's in the calendar, it kind of gives us some incentive to do that.
And Thursdays seem like a reasonable night. Obviously, third Thursday is out because we shouldn't compete with the HCC. But our next one, I'm assuming, is going to be the second Thursday, since it's after our meeting. What if we did like the second Thursday in
Yeah.
random?
Okay, no, we're tiptoeing toward this.
If all else fails and someone has to cancel, you could always just like draft a member to do it.
Yeah.
Toss it.
Tell the life story.
These for way longer.
That's what I mean.
It's Joanna's backup.
Joanna gets to give you the speech.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
The dinosaur.
So I'm going to,
Dinosaur.
you know, I'm gonna reach out for some input on that one and see if we can meet that goal. Okay, great. Last thing in community outreach is that we were contacted by Allison, and I can't say her last name, but from Nash, to continue to work with us on their environmental science program. And what they're looking for is to have engagement with their students regarding the climate action plan and Bird Town. And we have come back to her and said that we would be more than open to do this. And, you know, she's going to come back to us with some dates. I think that she was kicking around the week after the 18th, when school is in session. I wasn't available then, but I think she's going to come up with some alternative dates.
So is the goal that they would like volunteer for a program, or is it more educational?
It's educational.
Education.
Yeah.
It would be us speaking with the students and talking to them a bit, doing Q&A type things. Yeah.
Okay. Open initiatives. Bird Town update. Okay, the grant, we talked about that. I am going to continue to try to schedule that walk in the fall. Ken and I visited, and I visited separately Beechwood Farms. I bought an additional sign, which I'm using at the events. We know about that. And currently with Bird Town, we do have a McCandless page. We have some information loaded on it. And we'll continue to work with Liz to load additional additional events and accomplishments. But at this point, I'm going to start to load our actual formal accomplishments on the site. And with that, I have access to the site and Liz has access to the site. And I think that's great. I would like to have additional eyes on it, and I don't think Liz is the right person for that. So I want to continue to think about before we hit go on that, and we look to go from green to bronze to silver, that we are capturing everything that we're doing and we're accurately documenting everything that we're doing. So that's where we are with Bird Town. It's a lot of words. Okay. Next up is park walks. So we're talking about September, and that is coming up fast. So I think what I'm going to do is I will send out an email to everybody and see their open Saturdays for Potter and Pontiac Park walks. And we need to get that so we can start to think about what our input can be on those parks, and also anything that we can use the grants for. Okay. Open grant initiatives, and with that, we know that we have the $1,000 one out there, and anything else in the way of available grants.
Jeff, you had recently sent me an initiative through PennDOT for EV chargers. That might be an option, potentially here for town hall. I'm not sure if, the EAC has talked about EV chargers before, if this is an initiative that the EAC would support. I'm not sure, frankly, where this would go for us. The application opens in November, so it is a while from now, but potentially something that we could look into if the EAC would be interested in something like that.
So I know that, and again, way jumping the gun, but one of the things that we are likely going to recommend in the CAP eventually down the road, way down the road, is that when things start reaching an end of life cycle, to contemplate additional things like maybe hybrid vehicles or plug-in or something. So having a grant to have power available to plug in could be beneficial if eventually like the city fleet wanted to add some additional vehicles that were plug-in in some way.
Right. Now, one thing we have to think about when we're looking at EV chargers is which level of
Yes.
EV it's going to be, because if we only have a level 2 charger, then that one's going to take many hours to actually charge up a car. But I don't think we have everything we need for a level 3 charger, which is like the supercharger. So
Yeah.
that's the one problem. Like, say we have someone who wants to use it, like they live in an apartment complex, they would like to purchase an EV, and they want to utilize like a public charger like that, but that car is going to be sitting out there for many hours if it wants to get to full charge.
Yeah. I think a lot of it would be requiring some research to look into of what it would take.
Yeah, and
But I
Jeff-
think as a group, we would support that.
Yeah, and Jeff, I haven't had a chance. I think there are requirements for the level of charger that you need to put in. And I haven't really had an opportunity to really delve into what all those details are. But certainly something that I can do and talk to John about, and, something we might be interested in doing. So that's something that's out there. The Birdtown, the $1,000 we have in hand, I think is that a 2-year grant that we need to
It's
spend?
1 year.
1 year, so, we'll need to move on spending that. And then the upcoming application for, the Swift House that Jenna and I will be working on. So those are all things, that are kind of in the works from the grant end right now.
Okay.
With the EVs, we had probably 7 to 8 years ago, we had looked at, there was a lot of tax advantages and different grants and things, and it just never went anywhere. We couldn't make it work. And you might want to look at McCandless Crossings, because they have chargers over there, and see what their experience has been and what all's going on. Might as well learn from somebody that's already got it in place as to the applicability of the whole issue.
Yeah, and Katie, if, once you start taking a look at this, if there are any questions regarding the EV, do you want to run them past the CAP subcommittee to make sure that it's sort of fitting into what they're trying to accomplish?
No, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And Katie, if you decide to apply for that grant too, assuming that this goes decently, which I hope it will, I would also love to help with that grant application as well, for sure.
Absolutely. I know enough to be dangerous right now, so I bring it up, as something that I've been looking into.
So I just put into the chat the knife fund for, it's called the Moore Opportunity. It's a municipal opportunities for retrofits and energy efficiency loan program. It could be as low as a 0% interest commercial financing for Pennsylvania municipalities. I've mentioned this before. And so this is not necessarily grant, but when you go to apply or look at this program, they will do part of the service of the organization, NIFE, National Energy Improvement Fund. They do have funding to pay for free assessments to kind of look at your situation and help do the paid, assessment for free based on whatever it is you might want to do. So just again, this is a loan program, but there are still significant grant programs at the state level. This one is sponsored from the Pennsylvania Energy Development Authority, but PADEP still has a significant number of grant and loan programs as well. If the committee wants to make some of these recommendations, I can help steer towards some of these, and I could introduce you guys to the Pennsylvania DEP secretary who could probably better direct some of this. But once you have your recommendations, I would say take a look at the state. And my understanding is Arvin Venkat is now on the Energy Committee.
Ooh. Thanks, Bernie. Okay, moving on to the miscellaneous. So 2027 budget, we have a current budget amount, and I'd like to, so Katie, what is the date that we need to provide our budget recommendation to?
By town charter, John has to have the budget to town council by October 1st.
Okay.
So we are up against that. This, for me, was an item talking about tree giveaway again next year. Are there other things that the EAC would like to consider? I heard craft items at Community Day, some things for Night Out. Nadia was very generous to donate those items. Thank you, Nadia. But for Night Out next year, I don't know that we're sitting on anything else. Jeff, there was a minor expenditure for your sign for Birdtown. So just think about maybe,
Seeds through Earned Seeds, for the rain garden.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry?
Seeds through, so there's a local native, seed company, Earned Seeds, that,
Yeah.
has a rain garden mix that for reseeding and making sure that it's dense.
And so
Only
what
that.
what I'd like to do is, at the September meeting, I'd like to come and say, this is the number we need. This is the number we
And
need.
that number is no guarantee.
Right,
Just to
right.
clarify.
No,
The whole
this
budget
is,
needs to go to town council.
oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
that's not fair.
yeah, so,
Don't look at me.
Yes, sir.
But I mean,
Haven't we traditionally just had like a $2,000-3,000?
this year was 6,000.
Okay.
and do we approach it?
I can give you an update where you are on the budget.
That would be great. So
Um,
that's very helpful. If you can give me an update on the budget and let me know where we are, and then what we could do is we can consider each project that we're working on, and also, the community events that we'd like to be, participating and spending some money, and so we'll think about,
I'd also like to throw out, it might be easier to get people to come talk if we could give them like a speaking stipend, of like $100,
Yes.
$100 or
Yeah.
something.
yeah. Yeah.
Also, I don't know, Joanna, with the seed company you work with, if they do like seed packets, I don't know
There's other
if that's more
places-
sustainable than like going to the dollar store and just getting random seed packets or something like that. You know what, I just said that sentence, I was just saying, we might wanna put something in there
Motion
and
to
have
strike that
seed
from the
packets.
minutes.
Okay. We're just gonna pretend like that didn't happen.
Take it back.
Take it back.
I have some ideas.
But if
So
we
we'll-
wanted to like hand out seed
We'll
packets.
formalize that, and we'll come back. As everybody has input on the budget, once Katie lets me know what we spent to date, and then I'm going to ask everybody for input on what they think that they'll need for 2027, and then we'll go to council with that. Okay? I'll follow up on that one. Okay, next up is McMail tip for September. Was the recycling one, the last one that we just had? Which one did we just have?
Yes.
Yeah, that went very well.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, that went very well.
They're doing very well.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of traction on them. So, September McMail tip, we had school tips, but I'm not sure. Melissa, do you have any memory of that? Sorry.
Carmen
Ryan.
had initially volunteered to take that one, but she isn't here this month, so I don't think it's fair to just randomly assign it to her.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could do like sustainable like school supplies and talk about like reusing school supplies and like instead of like I have like a fountain pen that's got like a refillable cartridge instead of like buying a big new pen every time this one dies. That's cool. It's great. And like going for like things that are like have like a larger component that you just like refillable items, reusable items. That could be something to do. If it's a school tip, I don't know. I don't know what else you do for.
I know it's your
Sustainable
last
school.
meeting, but would you like to take this one?
She's good.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I have nothing else.
Really? I thought you had some Spanish to learn.
I tested out.
Yes, congratulations.
So you were gonna do that?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh,
That's
boy.
fine.
You get an extra cookie.
Ah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. And thank you, Melissa. Regional EAC meeting recap. Melissa or Audrey, do you guys want to mention anything there? I have,
So one thing I learned is that we have a very good working relationship with our town council compared to a lot of other
Yes.
communities.
yes.
They can't get town council members to show up or care, so thank you for coming.
It's the least I could do.
That was quite nice. A lot of people had deer problems, and we were talking about that. I was talking about we were trying to do an enhanced cull, and it would be great if people could like make this a more pervasive area to get like all of the North Hills to do something similar,
Yeah.
which a lot of people seem to think they have other things that they need to worry about, and it's a problem that everybody acknowledges. They don't necessarily have the resources to address it at this time, or getting their township to do it. There was discussion of having more of, like, for some of our presentations, getting like group dispersal of, or dissemination of the information to try and do more like North Hill EAC talks and like advertisements and stuff. And several of them are talking about, some of them are much more limited space, and so there's limited sign up, but some of them, we might have somebody who's very popular and have like a larger space and more people attend from various different townships.
Yeah, it's a collaboration on speakers.
Yeah.
Melissa, anything to add?
No, Drew did a great recap.
Okay, great. Okay. Any other general updates to share from the group?
Tree Pittsburgh is having a pawpaw festival at the end of the month.
I
If
saw
anyone
that.
would like to check that out.
Yeah.
Is that like explaining what pawpaws are and getting people to try them, or?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not done yet.
Report from town council, Jack?
They're very pleased to know that you guys are working on getting the other ESCs and other townships to work on deer. And as from this council member, I appreciate your confidence in me.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Katie, anything from, news from the?
Just wanted to note, in keeping with updated town policy, this will be the last meeting where we will be recording and posting to the town website. Would encourage individuals to attend meetings in person as they're able, or please check the meeting minutes, as that's the official record of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. So topics for next meeting, October McMail, Community Day recap, our September, well, if we have them by then, September park walks. And a annual migratory bird day walk date. Melissa, anything else?
I'll put the budget back on there since
Oh,
we're
thank
gonna
you.
have to refine that a little bit.
Melissa, we should have our cap recommendation by that point too, I think.
Okay, yeah, that will be part of just our climate action plan project
Okay.
update, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything else anybody wants to add to the agenda? Okay, any other comments? Okay, then can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? 9:00.
Nice.
All right, everybody, make sure you contact your council member.
We will. And while you're doing that, take a cookie.